And now look to John Mann MP to continue the case for the proposition.
Well, first of all, can I welcome you? Many of you must be in this building for the first time. I am. And I want to say well done for getting to Oxford University. Whoever you are, you've got here because of your talents. And you should never let anyone say otherwise. Each and every one of you. But as well, I would put it to you that the opportunities that you're given studying here, the investment in you, gives you an additional responsibility to your communities, to your country, to society, to give something back. And that's why debates like this are important. You know, this was, so I read in preparing the training ground for Boris Johnson, for Michael Gove, for Jacob Rees-Mogg. I trust that your generation is a damn sight more talented than some of those who've gone before. And in your very Oxford way, you've got to vote tonight. It's not a vote, actually, on the Labour Party. If you want to debate on the Labour Party, invite me or someone back, and I'll happily debate on the Labour Party. If you want to debate on Scottish independence, me and Mary will go on other sides and we'll hammer it out and argue it. Have a debate on that, but that's not what you're asked to vote on today. You're asked to vote, do you have confidence in this government? Strange having votes, because we don't have any in Parliament. No votes this week, there's no votes next week. There were no votes on legislation before the recess the week before, or the week before that. There's no votes on Brexit, there's no votes in any detail on Brexit. The government wants no votes. That's a strange kind of democracy. But then, this government loves China. Every government minister's telling us, just like George Osborne used to tell me on the Treasury Committee when I questioned him, China this, China that, running off to China, everything's China. And we've got a lot in common with China now. Well, this government has. You see, it loves democracy, does China. And the People's National Congress is the largest unelected body in the world. But we're catching them up. Can you imagine any other country in the world that takes a great politician like Andrew Lansley, elected by the people in Cambridgeshire, and allows him to retire, and then sticks him back in Parliament, unelected, to vote on the laws? They have more votes. They had 3 in the House of Lords this week. They have more votes in the Lords than we can get in the Commons. And he's in there with 201 others appointed since Cameron became Prime Minister, and then May's going to appoint more. Unelected. The bloated Assembly, the second biggest unelected chamber. And you know what? There's 2 other countries that are moving towards that kind of model. Kazakhstan and Burkina Faso. So I suppose you could call it the internationalist government. And who's in there other than the Right Honourable Andrew Lansley? Well, there's, and I would never insult a colleague in a debate, but it's full of bag carriers and donors and has-beens and never-beens and never-will-be's. These benches full of people without a vote, and they claim there's a democracy, and yet they won't allow us. And I'm one of those. People like Dennis Skinner alongside me, not many on the Labour benches, who argue to come out of the European Union. But we don't argue that therefore the British Parliament shouldn't have a say and we shouldn't be having loads of votes on what we should be doing. Quite the opposite. I voted to give powers to the British Parliament because my electors, for better or for worse, voted me in. Now, I call that democracy. If they want to sling me out, I hope they don't, but they can at the next election. Can't get rid of Lord Lansley, and this government won't even allow us votes on this kind of thing. That's one reason why you should have no confidence in them. But let's take the economy. Now, Osborne, he promised he were going to cut the debt. He told me many times, he told you many times, I'm getting rid of the deficit, I'm doing it in 5 years. It's in his plan, in his 2010 budget. Carried on lying for the next 6 years. It's coming down, it's coming down, it's coming down. But the debt's going up, 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 up. Indeed, we're not the worst. I don't want to exaggerate. Greece is doing worse than us. But the US has managed to stabilise debt. Germany's managed to stabilise debt. Norway, Switzerland have brought down the debt. We and Greece, we're going up, 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 up. And now, this new one, what's he called, Hammond? He's doing the same thing. He's a bit more honest. He's saying he's going to increase it, unlike Osborne, who lied about it. But it's the same thing. Economy not working. We're not making enough money. We're not selling enough stuff. And therefore, bigger debts. Oh, you're the younger generation. It was Osborne who said, oh, that's the problem. Yeah, it's a bigger problem for you than it was 6 years ago. It'll be a bigger problem by 2020. Another reason why this government ought to be booted out, and you can do your tiny bit tonight. Broadband. Now, I suspect you're thinking, world you're in, you'd like good broadband, super fast. I believe they call it. I'm a bit old-fashioned. But even in my area, we want super fast broadband. 4 years behind on what they promised. We're 23rd in the World League tables. We're behind Ireland. We're behind Latvia. We're behind Lithuania. The blockchain industry, the biggest potential growth on the internet in the next few years, in my judgment. We're nowhere to be seen. It's those countries leading the way. And you can't be, because we ain't got the broadband speeds in many parts of the country to allow that to happen. Energy. Well, they've got an energy policy. Frack, frack, frack. Everybody else has dismissed it, other than the Americans, and they're getting a bit worried about it. So let's have loads more fracking. They want it in my area. It's not a very good idea. We had coal. We want rid of that. We've loads of heat underground. We could be using that. Oh, no, we're not having these fancy technologies, all that heat that's there. No, no, no. We'll frack. It's not proven. Can't get the investment in. France has dismissed it. Germany has dismissed it. Poland dismissed it too. Poland? Yeah, Poland don't want it either. Nobody wants it. This lot do. That's called an energy policy. CBI former boss Lord Turner, he's begged them. A clear and stable policy framework. He's in despair. The industry's in despair. Watch your lights. They might not be on by 2020. R&D. Research and development, we dropped to 19th. We were 17th. They've dumped us down 2 more positions. We're now behind Slovenia and the Czech Republic. Productivity. Oh dear. The gap's the worst since 1991. The trend's changed. We were coming back. We were coming back on productivity. Now we're going back down. 31-point gap with France. France? Yes, France. 30 behind the US. The Germans obviously 36. Come on. The trend is worsening. 4% in the last year. We are going down the plug hole on productivity. Government's own statistics, by the way, all of these. Independent Office of Budget Responsibility. I happen to be able to scrutinise them in great detail. It's their statistics I'm quoting, not mine. High-speed rail. We're not even on the league table. There is a league table, but we haven't got high-speed rail, so we're not on it. Turkey's on it. Poland's on it. Uzbekistan is on it. We can't even work out where the stations are going to be. And Theresa May. Passport shambles. We've tried to get a passport. I had to deal with hundreds. Couldn't sort out passports for people going on holiday. Border queues. You must have seen them and been in them. Not enough border staff. Interpreters. I won't go. I haven't got time, but I dealt with a Bosnian interpreter living in my constituency who wasn't allowed, having served the British Army in Bosnia in difficult circumstances, to bring a sister in for her own wedding to a British medical army doctor in this country. Never mind the Afghans who are not allowed in. This is all Theresa May. 48,000 overseas students currently suing the government because she slinged them out illegally. We're picking up the bill, the taxpayer, for that. That's Theresa May for you. Never mind her and her government declaring war on the NHS and the junior doctors, declaring war on the schools, including schools many of you will have been to. And then Johnson copying Iran. Because what they do in Iran, they say, all go protest outside foreign embassies. It's Iranian government policy. It has been for a long time. They've done it to us and others. They've even done it to the Russians. Boris Johnson copying Iran. Think about your future. Think about your lives. You want to own your own home? 10% less people than 10 years ago owning their own home. 73% 2008, 63%. It's not even 10 years, it's 8 years. Down 10%, 63%. That's you. That's your opportunities to own a home. You've less chance than 10 years ago, much less chance than my generation. That's you and your futures that they are throwing away. Larger debts. You've got larger debts than any generation, larger debts than the generation when this lot come into power. Part of their legacy. Inferior technology that I've already mentioned, and you know. We have to look for brilliance and genius. But they're playing you for fools. If you wrong us, shall we not revenge? 309,000 people in the last year going just to Trestle food banks. Not good enough for you, doesn't give you the chance to be brilliant for our society. That's why you should vote no confidence in this government.